Okay, so we are going to cover really quickly, coordinate planes and graphs. So here's your essential question. If you forgot the distance formula, how would you figure out the distance between 2 points? Provide a detailed example. So one of the interesting things that Varsity Learning is having you do is to solve an equation by graphing it. And so they're asking you to use a graphing calculator, but what we are going to use instead of a graphing calculator is Desmos. All right, so you're going to go to desmos.com and then you're going to kind of follow the lead on this. So here's the equation. Now we should know that the value of x is 2. But when they want you to solve using the graphing calculator, what you do is you let one equation be one side of the equal sign. So in Desmos, you would type y equals 4x. And then the other equation is going to be the other side of the equal sign. So y equals 8. And so that intersection point is going to be the solution. So if I were to graph y equals 4x. So if I put that here, up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1. If I can go down 4 over 1, down 4 over 1. Just going to quickly sketch that graph. And then I'm going to say y equals 8. So let me go to the red, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's a horizontal line. You can see that that intersection, the ordered pair is 2, 8. So the x value 2 is going to give you what equals 8. So the solution here would just be 2. So that's what it's going to look like. Now the other way to utilize this is to rewrite 4x minus 8 into an equation. So y equals 4x. Now we would want to subtract the 8 over to the other side, so it would equal 0. So now we have a traditional linear equation, and the solution to this is going to be where it shows up on the x-axis. So we've got negative 8 down here, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, and you can see that the solution right here is on the x-axis where it's 2, 0, because when I plug in 2, I get 0. And basically what I did was I rewrote the equation as this. All right, so that's utilizing a graphing calculator to solve. Either way is valid, but just understand that that's what that means if you don't solve for y. Or put it into a linear equation. All right, so now we've got the distance between 2 points. And so on the distance between 2 points, let's go ahead and plot negative 5, 6, and then for negative 1. And I want you to understand that the way that the distance formula came to be was just because of Pythagorean theorem. So you can always make this a right triangle and do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, so that you can come up with the same answer that you're supposed to be finding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there is negative 5, 6, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1. All right. So the job that you're supposed to do is to find this guy right here. So you're trying to find the distance between those 2 points. So you want to be able to make this into a right triangle and then calculate the sides of the legs. So if this point is negative 5, 6, and we're looking for the height, this point right here is going to be negative 5, negative 1. So when we're looking for the height, what we're doing is we're subtracting the y values, right? So from the 0 to the 6 is 6 plus 1. So this height is going to give me 7. But I could have also found that by going negative 6 minus I'm sorry, it shouldn't be negative 6. All right, so it should be 6 minus negative 1, right? So when you're finding the distance between something, you want to be able to subtract to figure out how many units that are actually there. So that's 7 units. And so over here, what we're doing is we're going to be looking at the x values, right? Because we're going to be going left and right. So this is 4, -1. So we're going from -5. So from here to here is 5, and from here to here is 4. So it makes sense that it's 9. But let's let the algebra give us that. So in -5 minus 4, and that's going to be -9. All right, so we know that the distance from here is 9. Now we're looking for the absolute value of those things only because we don't want to, you don't have a negative width. The negative just implies location. So we have a 7 and a 9, and now we can do Pythagorean theorem, which says 7 squared plus 9 squared equals c squared. And then if we were to try and find c, we would just take the square root of that. And so we've got 49 plus 81 is equal to c, and we'll do that math in just a moment. And so that's how the distance formula was founded. So our c squared is our hypotenuse, which is really the distance that we're looking for. And we are looking for that square root. And then how did we come up with the 7 and the 9? Now we're supposed to be adding those two guys together, but if you look back, what we did was, and we'll just put the x's first, I took the x and I subtracted them, and then I squared them. Now it doesn't matter the order as long as you're consistent. And then I subtracted the y's, and then I squared them. And so that's how the distance formula came to be. So now let's actually go ahead and utilize the distance formula in that process. So we could do 4 minus -5 squared plus 6 minus -1. So that's going to give me 9 squared plus 7 squared. So we're going to have 81 plus 49. And then what is that, 130? And so if you were to break that down, reduce that radical, let's go ahead and cake that. Let's divide by 2. Half of 130 is 65. Divide by 5, you get 1, 3. And 13 is prime, so there's no pairs. So that would be my final answer, since I can't break that down. So now let's take a look at finding the midpoint between those 2 points. So the midpoint, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, -1. So it's the same. It's the same line. We're just looking for where is the point somewhere along in here. Where's the midway point? So that way this side and this side are equal. So that's what we're trying to find out. So the midpoint is actually really easy. The midpoint idea is that you just add the x's and divide by 2. And you do the same thing with the y's. You add the y's and divide by 2. So I am going to add my x's, so -5 plus 4, and I'm going to divide that by 2. And then I'm going to add the y's, so 6 plus -1 over 2. And then here I've got -1 over 2. And then I've also got 5 over 2. So around -1/2 and then 2 1/2, like right there, would be my midpoint.